is to become definitely more outgoing. So if you're a shy person like I was, become the person that you want to be, no matter what it is. Like, it's really time to push yourself the most. So take advantage of this opportunity.
Thank you.
Mine's pretty similar to Kelly's, actually. My biggest area of improvement since I've been here has just been my inner confidence, I think. I've done this just by slowly just branching out of my comfort zone whenever I see the opportunity. Because eventually, the more you do these things just get easier. And another way that is this, like another mindset shift that I've implemented for myself, is just realizing that no one's thoughts about you or anything just really matter. The only thing that really does matter is your thoughts about yourself and your own peace and happiness.
No, I really like that.
So I think mine, now that I'm getting a little old here and going into my last year, I think what I've recently been improving on, especially starting my freshman year, was professionalism. Like I mentioned, some of us may only have 4 years of college, and during that 4 years, we have to kind of mature and go that professional route for when we do enter our careers. Coming in as a freshman, I was kind of torn between, oh, I want to have fun in college, but I also have to get my stuff done. So that being said, I started reaching out and communicating with all my peers, students, staff, faculty, and ask them for questions on how I can develop professionalism and mature as a person. Because when it comes down to it, senior year, you're going to be having those job interviews, and they're going to go off of how you represent yourself, and that professionalism is going to carry you a long way.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I really like all those themes. In this two that have been involved in sport, were you familiar with deep practice in terms of physically strengthening, mentally strengthening for your sport? Is that something very familiar to you in terms of a very concentrated, very almost like microscopic practice? Is that something that was familiar to you both?
Yeah.
And I think that's often where people stay, right? So that's where deep practice is. And the connection I'm trying to make, and what Caleb made, is every time you strengthen one part of you, it strengthens another part of you. The myelin wraps around, and you're going to be stronger and better and improved. That's what I'm telling my kids, even if they're engaged in a class that they don't like, that's still strengthening you for all those other things, right? So anytime you're stressing your brain a little bit, squinting your eyes a little bit, really trying hard, if it's difficult, it's making you stronger. And I think that's a really important deep practice connection to make. But I think it's a worthwhile question to keep asking. How do you want to be better? And what kind of deep practice is going to help you get to that point? And the other question that I had in mind, you already touched on quite a bit. How do you push yourself outside of your comfort zone? You almost just get used to doing that, and know that every time I'm pushing myself outside my comfort zone, that's going to only keep me stronger. So yesterday, we came in about 24 hours ago to do a dry run through for this panel, and every piece of IT didn't work, right? So I was trying to be cool, calm, and collected. Does anyone know Kevin from IT?
Kevin.
Cool, calm, and collected. Like literally, he almost like rebuilt the computer that I'm talking on, but he didn't come at that complication or that disappointment with anxiety. It was like, okay, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna work this out. And it's almost like helping us all get to that place where, all right, the wheels come off here, but this is how we put it back on while maintaining us. And the other thing I really like that Caleb talked about is really that belief in yourself. I think that's part of it, right? The belief that I can work on this, I can do this. Even if someone's in my head saying, oh, that's not gonna work. Like, I'm still plugging away and doing my best and trying to make something better of this situation that's often imperfect. Kelly, when you're talking about internship questions, it's often, here's this imperfect situation that I pivoted and worked on. But I feel like I've been jabbering on a lot. I really would like to open up the room to every student in this room and every student virtually. Happy to hear about deep practice, happy to hear about top tips on campus. What questions do you have for these panelists? Anyone in the room? Anyone in the chat? Well, the place I'll go first is food, right? So like I need to find a good Mexican restaurant, a good Thai restaurant, a good Japanese restaurant, because that makes me feel better about the spot that I'm in. Is there a place near campus that gives you peace? I was walking around thinking we need more joy. You know, like where are the sources of joy on and near campus that have helped you keep your head, helped you stay positive? Are there places on campus that help you, places near campus that help you?
Oof, that's a tough one. There's so many to pick from. Between the smaller kind of family-owned ones down in downtown Painesville all the way down going down Menor Ave will take you anywhere you need to go.
Yeah.
Sidewalk Cafe is always a go-to. Quality brunch there, and I'm pretty sure they give Lake Erie students a discount if you show them your ID.
Now that is a very quiet top tip. I remember the ID discount when I first got here, but it's very quietly passed around. So you should just flash your ID in local Painesville places and see what discount comes.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't have to be food. Are there places on campus and near campus that give you a little bit of peace, a little bit of joy? Is it
There's
the
a yoga studio in downtown Painesville called Branches of Wellness.
Been there, good.
I know my first year at Lake Erie, it was stressful moving on campus. That it changed my life, like literally, like world flipped upside down. And Branches of Wellness, I'd go there literally 3-4 times a week, and I would go to their night yoga session, and it would like calm me down, give me some peace, and then I was able to come back, do schoolwork, do whatever. But for anyone that likes yoga, that's definitely the place to go in Painesville.
It sounds great.
Okay.
I was just say I like doing my homework in the library. Just being in that setting makes me like get hyper focused and just want to finish everything, and I become way more efficient.
Yeah, I think Gina's really helped it be like the Zen study place that it needs to be. And I think it's nice to have that retreat. That's my spot where I'm going to focus.
I saw we had a question pop up here.
All right.
How do you manage your time given all the things going on with you as students? Oof, that's a very good question. Kelly, you want to lead us off with this?
Yeah, so I am a big planner person. Like every year I make it a big deal to get myself a new planner. And every week I'll spend time just saying, okay, these are all the events that I have going on. These are all the homework assignments I have due this week. And these are all the homework assignments I want to start this week that are going to be due next week. Because there are going to be big projects that are going to take up a lot of time, and you're going to need to, like, it might be due in 3 or 4 weeks, but you're going to need to start working on it now because it's just that big. And you have all of these things going on. So yes, you have classes you're going to, you have sport, you have practice that you're going to, all of that, but you also have to make time for yourself. You have different events on campus, like movie nights, ping pong, all the different events that they have going on. And like we've said, getting involved is a big thing here at Lake Erie. And to make sure that you make time for everything, plus yourself, you want to make sure that everything, not necessarily everything to the detail is planned out, like I'm doing this from 2 to 3, but I mean, if you want to get that detailed, you could, but like every day I will make a list of the assignments I want to get done for the day, plus all the things I have going on. And so I just make sure that I have time for everything. And if it comes to the part where I don't have time to do something, then the people around you are more than likely going to say, that's okay, because you, for one, are a student and your studies come first. That's like a big thing. So definitely, if you're a planner person like me, that it's going to help you a lot.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
I just really try to take things day by day. And so each like morning I think about what I have to do that day, and I try to like mentally prioritize what needs to be done first, what needs to be done like second, third, so on. And then just kind of make sure you get it done whenever you do and force yourself to actually stick to what you know is best for you.
I think mine kind of covers both Kelly and Caleb's. So I'm very organized with the planner. I have color coordinated for certain classes, red obviously for important things when they're due, kind of urgent. But I also do what Caleb does, and I'll list out things I have to do for the day. Like he said, you can't think too far in advance, because if you think too ahead of the game, you're gonna lose your mind. I'll tell you that. I've tried to think weeks in advance, like what am I going to do on Tuesday of September 25th. It doesn't work that way, So I'll do day by day, make a list of what I got going on. I'll write it in my calendar, and then I'll do sticky notes for my best friend. I have them all over the place. I also have the reminders on my phone, so I kind of go a little extreme with what I got to do because of how busy I am. And usually I will always leave a 2-hour gap somewhere throughout the day to get my stuff done that needs attending to, whether it be some housekeeping stuff or whether it be like my off-campus job if I'm doing that, or any volunteer that I have to do. As an ambassador, we have to volunteer so much, so I'll block off time for that if I have to do that, or any meetings I have to make, like phone calls, things like that. But that's just time that I know I can get stuff done instead of scrambling in between 2 time slots. So I can squeeze this in. So like Caleb said, kind of focus primarily on what needs to be addressed now, what's got to be done within the next day or two, and then start focusing on the week after when it comes that time. You don't want to think too ahead of the game there.
Yeah, I like that you're making time for yourselves in the plan. I'm going to assume that a lot of people are using technology to stay on top. If it's not in my calendar, I could forget it. If I haven't flagged the email, it could slip through the cracks. But employers sometimes might give you an activity that susses out how well you prioritize. Like, can you understand what you need to do now, what you can put off, what you can delegate? So it's an important skill set to have in life. While your emails might feel quite a lot, they're only going to get bigger. Like managing that inbox is an art and a science. And I want you to do it the way you do it. I want you to figure out your system of doing it. But any other questions in this room? Any other questions that you walked around with in terms of advice or resources on campus? These people have been here a little bit longer, and they have some knowledge to impart to help you find your way.
We may know a thing or two about what's going on. I didn't get any laughs. I don't think that was funny. Perfect.
You got to chuckle after the laugh.
Perfect.
But I think the other thing, I'm going to dip into like the next theme in the book. I feel like if you are engaged in deep practice, you've made that activity part of your identity. There's something has inspired you, something has caused you to love the thing you're doing. You're not going to put 110% and practice your life out if it isn't something that feeds you, it isn't something that you love. And it's been interesting to see Kelly find accounting be that thing, right? So I feel like my aim is to help people find that next love, right? You might come in and say, okay, sport is what feeds me, but I want to find the next thing that's going to also feed you, like that you're going to love just as much. So is there something that's inspired you to put in all this effort, right? Because you don't do that straight out the gate, typically. Maybe someone might, but what is the love that you found or the inspiration that you found that's helped you put as much into the experience as you all are? What's inspired you?
I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
So what's inspired me the most is to become the best version of myself that I can be. And with that is changing either every day, every month, every year. So how Eric said that accounting's become my thing. When I first started college, when I was a freshman, I wanted to study physics all the way. I wanted to be a rocket scientist. I don't know why. I really don't. But I took my first college physics class and I was like, we gotta get out of here. This is not the way to go. And so then after that, I was like lost. I was lost for about 2 semesters. I had no idea really what I wanted to do. And it was hard because everyone asked you, what's your major? What are you doing? What do you want to do with your life? I had no idea. And the part I had to learn first was that's okay to not know what you want to do. And so then after that, I took a business law class because I was watching some show that the storyline was with lawyers, and I was like, ooh, being a lawyer would be really cool. Like, I could totally see myself going down this path. And then once I researched the career, I was like, this is not it. This is not it. So then, but I really liked business. So I took an intro to business class and I saw accounting, and I was like, that is perfect. I took my first accounting class and I was like, this is it. I love it. And so after that, I declared accounting my major, took just about every accounting class I could. And so just finding the little things when, like, taking a physics class told me I didn't want to do physics. Then business told me I wanted to do, or business law told me business, and then business told me I want to do accounting. So it's okay to have a path. It's okay not to know what you want to do. So it's just knowing that one day you will find what you want to do, but it could take a while. Like, it took me until my second semester of sophomore year to know, okay, accounting's it. And I made it work. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
My most recent endeavor has been just entrepreneurship, and I found that the best way I can be inspired is just by being around people who have the same similar kind of thinking and just like-minded people in general. And especially something like entrepreneurship, which is so out of the box, you kind of have to be around a good network of people. So just from my peers in general, and also using my phone and watching videos of people talk who I look up to, just anything that can affirm your beliefs, I feel will always just help inspire you to get to that next level of deep practice and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like Kelly said, you don't necessarily have to know what you're doing. Kelly found her way with accounting, and I mean, you might go into college. I was talking to Eric about this earlier. A lot of students go into college not knowing what they're doing. Just going to college is the first step. College, you have so many years to determine what you want to do. And what it's going to come down to, like Caleb says, it's your peers supporting you, that motivation from them, experiencing different types of classes. You may experience something like Kelly did where you don't like physics, but you like accounting. It's just your calling. It might take time to do that. So the biggest thing I would say is never stress about what's going on. I know Kim could probably, I know she's in here somewhere. Kim probably knows I'm one to stress a lot about things, but you don't want to stress too much because everything works itself out based on how much time you put into it. And it's that time you put into it that's going to determine what it's going to be like for you in your future. So along with Kelly and Caleb, it's your peers, your motivation, your support system, and just experiencing things for yourself to determine what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. And then that goes into the deep practice. How much time and effort do you want to put into something to accomplish what you want?
Very much agree. That goes back to the argument of doing more things. The more things you do, the more chances you are of finding that thing that really feeds you. Absolutely, very much agree. I'm starting to get some questions, so I want to make sure that I get them to you. There's a question: how do you balance self-care with getting things done when there's so much going on? How do you balance that time for yourself?
So every day, so this semester I'm fully online. I'm not taking any in-person classes. So my schedule works around not only my Zoom classes, but assignments and everything. But every morning before I have my first Zoom class, so some days I have it at 9, sometimes I have it at 12. So my classes really vary. But every morning I make sure that I take an hour and a half to go work out. I make sure I eat a good breakfast. I make sure I have a good lunch. But I also make sure at the end of the day, usually today's an exception because I'm on the panel by 4 or 5. I'm trying to wrap up my day, so I have time at night just to be Kelly. I do the things I want. I go take a walk, go spend time with my dog. I go swimming, cook dinner with my mom, that kind of thing. So I think just making sure that you block off time to just spend time, do things that you want. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I just think it's all about self-awareness and just knowing yourself, and when you've reached your limits, because if you try to just continue doing things when you're like running on empty, it's not going to be your best work.
Mhm.
So like Kelly said, like she found what works for her and she implemented it into her routine, and just figuring that out along with your classes and work, whatever you have practice, that'll always just help you out in the long run.
I think now more than ever, it's really important to look after yourself. I felt like getting outdoors, gardening, walking with my kids helped me be centered because I feel like everyone's more on edge right now. So it almost feels revolutionary to say please and thank you everywhere. But I want to just try to have a positive space around you. Next question, people are asking, when's the best time to get an internship? When did you start your internship or experiential learning?
I started mine summer of sophomore year is when I started my first internship with University Hospitals, and I did it through the summer. And that was because for my specific internship, you needed a certain amount of specifications and requirements to get that internship, like so many knowledge and so much field. And in the medical field, they're a little bit more strict. So I had to start the summer of my sophomore year. So my first 2 years were kind of experimenting. What can I do and what do I need to get done so I can do that?
So the best time to do an internship is anytime, seriously. I mean, I took my first internship the spring of my junior year, and after doing that, I honestly wish I would have started my freshman year. I mean, I didn't have accounting my freshman year, but if I were to have had accounting, I would have done it my freshman year. I would have done it every year, to be honest. So I did one internship my spring semester of my junior year, and then I also did one spring semester of my senior year. I'm taking an extra semester, but take the opportunity. I mean, my internship landed me a full-time job, so you never know where it's actually going to get you. So take advantage of every internship opportunity you can have.
My answer is a little different. I actually don't currently have an internship, but so for example, what I am doing is just making like content for people's social media and having them pay me like virtually. So for me, that was mostly just like, I just had to just do it, because if the more I just thought about it and kept planning on going through scenarios, like the more you're just wasting your time and energy not doing anything.
I keep saying the phrase significant experiential learning to make it bigger than the internship. I had graphic design students and kind of a pilot first year experience course who just blew me away. She had like 3 side projects in graphic design as a freshman. So I think that's just as valid as anyone else's internship. A piece of research, a piece of work. So really the open question is, what would you like to get under your belt while you're here to help build your skills, right? And there are a lot of ways through that. I have a question. Who or where is your go-to regarding getting questions answered about help or personal issues?
My go-to person is my advisor, Professor Zemek. She has seen me at my lowest lows where I was ready to drop an accounting degree. Like I was just like, you know what? Accounting might not be it. And no, she was like, Kelly, you're not dropping it. You're meant to be an accountant. And so I mean, I'll talk to Professor Zemek, whether it's about classes. My mom was in the hospital my junior year a lot, and every time I just was gonna cry, just couldn't handle it anymore, I would go to her and she'd be like, Kelly, it's going to be okay. Like, you are strong, you will get through this. And so Professor Zemek's my go-to person.
I've actually been talking to Peter Apicella, like just almost like in a mentorship kind of like angle, and he's helped me a lot with my like personal and career development.
I would have to say I talk to anyone who would talk back. No, I'm kidding. It's definitely would have to be everyone in student life. Being an RA and being one for 3 years, I think Kim definitely. I tell Kim just about anything that's going on in my life. So, and if I have any questions regarding something that's going on campus, I usually say I'm gonna go talk to Kim. And now Emily Robinson as well. She sits right there in student life, and usually if I just turn around, I'll ask her any question that I have. So those are my 2 go-to. But yeah, usually if I can't find them, anyone who will talk back to me.
I second that. Student life is a really good resource too.
Absolutely. Then there's a question about kind of acknowledging the elephant in the room. So have you found yourself more on technology lately? And how have you navigated being successful through that artifice of a Zoom conversation or a Google Meet? What have you found helps you still be successful going through that technology?
With me being fully online this semester, I've definitely kind of gone through that. So one thing that I have noticed with myself in the last week and a half is that during class time, even though it's virtual, I find myself grabbing my phone a lot. So I'm trying to teach myself, like, yes, I might not actually be in class, but I'm virtually in class, so the phone needs to be set away. So definitely making sure that when you're in class, you're engaged in class, because it's being virtual, you can find yourself being easily pulled away from what you need to be focused on.
I just think it's all about discipline with yourself and maintaining your focus. So like, I mean, it's weird when you're sitting in your room in class, like that's weird for even the teachers, I'm sure, but like you have to make sure that you're focused, because otherwise you're going to really regret it one day.
I think in my experience, I mean, from my classes, you know, a lot of biology classes are tough to do online. But as I progress through those, and now, especially with the whole COVID pandemic that is going on, for me specifically applying to grad schools, it's all online based. And you start getting a newfound respect for online type things. Especially now with email, a lot of professors are like, talk to me email. So it kind of forces you to use more technology as much as you don't want to. I'm very I like pen and paper. Let's keep it strict to the point. But I'm learning to adapt. And it makes me sound old when I say I hate technology, and I'm still learning. But no, I feel like it's just a learning curve for everyone at this point. The more that we do go online and the more that classes are offered online, things like that, it's discipline along with just adapting to the situation you're in.
Absolutely agree. I like the tip of putting your phone down. I think we're all too distracted constantly. I've been in some meetings where everyone puts their phone in a bowl. I've seen some practices where you're like, okay, throw your phone. And the more you're focused at that moment, the more you will be helping yourself. Absolutely. But I think it's also true that no one is perfect in this technology, and it's also being okay with not being perfect and learning and strengthening. And in some ways you get to know people's houses and you get to know people's pets, and there's a different opportunity. I think the golden hour is often before the thing kicks off, when we're chatting at the top and we're building relationships. To kind of try to take it full circle, I still think relationships are way more important than technology. I still think that even though the technology might get in the way sometimes, it might feel uncomfortable, it's good to utilize that spot to make a better connection. And all the more reason to get outside and get away from Zoom sometimes if you feel that Zoom fatigue. And it might be nature that helps you, it might be exercise that helps you, but that taking time for yourself, I think, is another really important theme that we talked about. So we've got 3 minutes left. The room is feeling restless. Any last questions in this room on this chat?
They're all like, no, get me out of here.
Well, I really appreciate our student panel. Kelly, Caleb, Nathan, thank you very much for bringing your insight, bringing your wisdom, bringing your sincerity to the conversation. And
of course.
Our students will keep talking about this conversation in the chat. So in our class, you can see that there are 2 questions. The response to both questions due Saturday, and then your response to your fellow students' responses due next class. So it'll all be clear on Leo if that description wasn't clear. But I very much appreciate your attention, very much appreciate your participation. Thank you all.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this. It was a pleasure. And for anyone who didn't get their question, didn't get to ask a question, feel free to stop us if you see us. Kelly, if you want to drive to her house, talk to her, go for it.
You could email me anything. Seriously, like Nate said, we're open books. I'd rather, if I could give advice to someone and it helps them, please ask, because it's always nice to have advice.
Yep, we gotta find someone to fill our shoes at some point, and we hope it's you guys. We're out of here, so we appreciate your time, though.
I appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.